Hey y'all, and welcome to the 5th edition of the Birmingham Real Estate Update, Corona edition. Today is 4/22/20, and I am Rob Drum. I'm an associate broker here at eXp Realty in Birmingham, Alabama. We're going to be going through the data for the last week on our Birmingham real estate market. We're going to cover sales, the percentage of sales that were cash, and just take a look at what our market is looking like in terms of active listings, pendings. And then we're also going to get into stimulus opportunities, especially for real estate investors, agents, small business owners, anyone who's been affected by this pandemic shutdown. There's so many things out there that are really changing on a day-by-day basis. What's available, how to access it, what the rules are, the guidelines. So I'm trying to keep people updated on that, and also share some tips and tricks on how to get that funding and just the best way to go about that. So let's get into the numbers. So in the last week, we had 315 closings, which compares to the same period the year before at 472. But again, these numbers are live, so they're going to change as we get into, say, a week from now. So that's something that we started tracking. So when I looked back at the numbers that we posted last week in my video, it was 238 compared to 434 from the year before. And when I went back and looked at it, it ended up being 377 closings during that period were posted. So a lot more got added to our MLS, and this is all live data that, so it is changing sometimes, minute by minute even. So another interesting thing that, I really would not have thought is that the number of cash closings as a percentage is actually pretty low. I thought it would have gone up during this Corona crisis, and it really hasn't. So the number of closings has dropped slightly, but really nothing like I was expecting, nothing like a lot of us were worried about. And the number of cash closings is really smaller than last year, and a lot of closings are still happening with financing, although initially some lenders tightened their standards, and I'm hearing now from some of them that are already loosening their standards back up as far as credit scores, debt to income, and they're already kind of getting back in the game after they took a second to kind of see how this is all going to play out. And in the Birmingham market, we're really, I think, very lucky. We've been very stable as far as keeping an active market. Some places are not in the same situation. New York is pretty much a complete shutdown from what I've heard. I spoke to somebody in Arizona who said that their market has really been affected seriously by this. So for whatever reason, Birmingham has held strong, and I know our agents have adapted to all this, doing a lot of virtual showings, keeping hand sanitizer and wipes in their listings, and so we've stayed active, and that shows in the numbers. Active listings are right about the same as they were last week. The number of properties that are contingent, under contract, pending closings is up a little bit. So really, these numbers are holding pretty strong, pretty stable, not a strong trend in any direction on this, other than I think a slight drop in closings. And it'll be interesting to see, because that's just not what we expected. It'll be interesting to see in a week or two here when we can look at the April pricing numbers and see if that's been affected at all. My thought would be that it has not, but it'll be interesting to take a look regardless. So let's get into the stimulus update. SBA loans, there's two different loans, the EIDL and the PPP. EIDL is the main feature of that people are interested in is that there's a grant, and that grant is for each employee that your business has. You can get a grant of $1,000, and you may also get a loan that's available, but most people are only concerned about the grant. You can apply directly with the SBA, and it has been a process, but mine actually got funded this week. And you want to be sure. So they ran out of money. They closed the portal. I think they're about to reopen the portal, refund the program. So money's probably going to run out very quickly again. It'd probably be worth it if you haven't received yours to go ahead and reapply. Make sure that you count yourself as an employee, because even if it's a side hustle or any type of self-employment, 1099 contracting, you are your own employee, and they use that in the calculation of how much grant you're going to get. So be sure to fill it out that way. The PPP also ran out of funding. That should also be re-upped. I had mine actually funded today, and so it is still happening. For that one, you have to go through a local banker. You don't have to go through a local banker. It's a good idea to go through a local banker, because what I'm hearing is that large banks are performing pretty poorly for their smaller clients on these loans. They're just not able to get the loans to SBA, get them approved with any urgency. And when there's only a limited amount of funding available from Congress, the urgency is kind of a big deal. So I've had a couple people that are banking at large banks tell me that they haven't been able to make any headway on getting payroll protection program loans, and kind of pointed them in the right direction of people who may be able to help them. So if you are in that situation where you can't get your bank to make any progress on your loan, or to get your loan submitted to SBA, contact me, either text or email. I'll put both of those in the description, and I'll get you some information. Be prepared to move your checking and savings business accounts over. That's kind of a really good incentive for these smaller banks to work with you. So just be prepared to do that if you're going to ask them to help you with a loan like this. Stimulus checks are going out. I've talked to a lot of people who have received them. I think most of them have filed 2019 taxes already, so that seems to be something that helps. In the last video, I put a link to the portal at the IRS website where you can go on and check what the status is. For a lot of people, that portal does not work. It doesn't show you anything. So really the only tip on that is filing your taxes for 2019 will help. And otherwise, you may be farther down the line, or you may get a paper check, or I don't know what's happening with that. Another thing I really wanted to point out was my friend Tom Horn. He's an appraiser here in Birmingham. He runs a great blog also that has a lot of data on our market. And he did a post called The 5 Charts that describe the Birmingham housing market 6 weeks into the pandemic. I thought it was really good. He's got charts, that show a lot of kind of what I'm talking about, but in a really great visual presentation. So I definitely check him out. He's a great person to follow for any kind of data on our market or specific neighborhoods. If you like kind of nerding out on the same thing that me and Tom do, definitely give him a look there, and I'll put the link in the description on that. That's really it. I'd love it if y'all would subscribe to this YouTube channel. I'm going to keep bringing updates on our market throughout this pandemic, and trying to keep everybody updated and going here. So thank y'all for watching, and I hope to see y'all again next week.